Hey, it's Perry here from ServiceSixSigma.com, co-presenter with Ben Bergloff. Hey, what we do is that we start the broadcast 10 minutes before the hour, just to make sure that all of the Facebook and Instagram and Rumble, wherever we are, they all have time to broadcast that we're live. So if you're joining us live, you join us on the hour, on the dot. And before that, we'll have a little clip, like including this clip here, just to let you know. Just fast forward if you're watching in replay and catch it when you see the change of pace, or you see somebody come on screen. That'll be our guest for the day, and that will help you not have to watch all of this again. But in the meantime, we're trying to make this first 10 minutes really interesting. Okay?
Oh, hello there. Ben here with Epic Exterior Services, president and founder of Service Six Sigma. We appreciate you joining our live stream today at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We will be live in about 5 minutes. Please stand by as you watch our commercials.
Look at that. Here we are. It's Friday night. We love it. Well, it's not Friday night here. It's Saturday morning. I'm in tomorrow, and tomorrow's awesome. So, what you got here?
We got some groovy music.
You do not want to see me dance.
Come on, dance, Barry.
All right, here we go. You know where I learned to dance? Off those street side airmen. Off those street side airmen, you know? They blow the air up the thing and it goes like that. Okay, let's go. I've got 3 minutes to explain to everybody while we're going live on the hour, 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. I will tell you all about Service Six Sigma in the fastest way possible. Service Six Sigma is a project. Ben approached me about a week and a half ago and said, dude, your social media sucks. And I said, yeah, it does, but we've got some ideas. And he said, well, I want to help you. But he wasn't talking about this. He was just talking about just helping us with our business. In the end, after a short conversation, we actually got this idea that we could really enjoy delivering added value to professional mobile contractors. So the service means mobile contractors, the service industry. And anybody in the service industry could benefit from this for sure. And then the Six Sigma is all about what Six Sigma means is the pursuit of perfection by the elimination of errors. In other words, you're working yourself towards perfection. So the airplane industry is Six Sigma, the nuclear industry is Six Sigma, right? There's no room for error, but they've still got to look for errors and still eliminate errors as they get better and better. So we thought that was a great name, Service Six Sigma. So then we divided the business up into 6 sectors of business, because we don't want it just to be about marketing or just to be about tools or just to be about this or just to be about that. It's about the whole of your business. So the sectors are, attract, which is influencing social media content, content creation, how to edit videos, all sorts of things, which we've already done a couple of live streams on that. So we have attract, how to attract the potential customer. Then we have convert, how to convert the customer. So that's A for attract, C for convert. A, C, D is deliver the service, tools, techniques, route management, on-site safety, all these sorts of things. So that's A, C, D, A, C, D, C. That's easy to remember, A, C, D, C, right? And C is for control, systems and processes, all the stuff that's going on in the back end of your business. That's ACDC. After that, you can scale because you've got your systems and processes worked out. You can scale your business. And then the sixth one, the alarm's going off. I'm going to stop. The sixth one is to give back. Once you've got money, you've got scale. Of course you can give back on the way through, but then you're more empowered to give back. So the 6 sectors are ACDC: attract, convert, deliver, control, then scale, then give back. Okay, that's it. So and then we live stream six days a week at the moment, just to get some momentum. 7:00 Mountain Standard Time every night, and then if you go to servicesixsigma.com, you can find the past episodes there in links and also on our Facebooks and stuff like that. But a little bit harder to find that way. And you can also view us live on servicesixsigma.com where it says live events. How's that, Ben?
Perfect.
Woohoo! All right, so it's 7:00 and it's time to talk incoming phone calls.
Yes.
Shall I introduce April?
Yes, we should introduce April.
All right. So our guest speaker today is April Dodson. She is driving back from the PWNA conference. So she is here. Oh, you come in on video. Woo!
Do we hear her?
Are you there, April? Somewhere in the darkness? Just check her mic.
Oh, she gone.
All right. So April runs Bid Slot Marketing. Well, she and Josh, they used to be in the pressure washing industry, and now they're still very attached to the pressure washing industry with Bid Slot, which is a very boutique and special call answering service, which we have used, and I was reminded we actually went. Oh, good. Oh, we can hear you on the road, April.
Yeah,
Greetings.
sorry about that.
Fantastic. I love your laugh. Great to chat with you, April. We're going to keep you awake for any part of the hour that you want to be with us. You know that.
Yes, yeah. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm
just leaving the PWMCA show.
Fantastic. How was it?
It was really good. There was probably, I don't know, like 120, 150 contractors there. There were a lot of speakers. I was a speaker there. And
right.
Yeah, and they had lots of different things going on, and it was in Orlando. It was in Kissimmee, so it was a nice area. The hotel was fine, stuff like that. Yeah.
And did you go down on your own, or did you bring the big fella with you, Big Josh?
No, I did. I did go on my own. Josh couldn't get away from the brewery, so this was a short trip. I literally drove down Wednesday, stayed Wednesday night, Thursday night, and I'm on my way back home because I have a big yoga convention thing going on tomorrow, so I got to get back for that.
You mean yoga when you flex yourself into weird shapes?
Yes.
The mind boggles. Okay. So... hey, you and I have done business a lot, and we're going to do business again. We're just lining it all up at the moment. April and I are talking about working together again because we were using her. She's got a boutique service with a lot of customization, which is really, really amazing. And and then we put somebody else on who took over, and then we went into a traditional call center answering service, and then we're revisiting everything 2024. And the first thing I thought of is April, to say, look, we need to go back to what April was giving us. So we're doing that. So that's what made me think to bring you on board, April, because I really think, and I know that you provide the service and more services to the mobile contractor industry. So do you want to sort of take the floor and give a summary of, like, basically, how BidSlot marketing, works for contractors, and that's a nice frame, and then we'll start talking about calls,
Yeah, so that sounds good. So if you were to ask me what BidSlot's really good at, it's answering the phone, quoting and closing the deal, working your current customer database, which we consider your pot of gold, and cold calling. We also do a lot of like text campaigns, email campaigns, and we can actually pull the types of lists that you want in the commercial market to solicit to them. So that's kind of what we're really good at. We started out just as an appointment setting service, setting appointments for, contractors, home service businesses, but we expanded into anybody that offers a service or a product. And we've done a lot of really unique things. We are a sales center. We are not your typical answering service. I only hire salespeople. And my reporting is industry specific. There's a few things about the reports you get from BidSlot, like when we answer your phone. And it's because of my experience in talking to contractors and things that they don't like about other answering services. And one is transparent billing. And so my message ticket that you get after we take a call, every item of business we do for you is ran in a task, and every task ticket shows you your beginning number of hours and minutes, your ending number of hours and minutes, and how long we were just in the task for you, and it gives you all the details of what we just did for you. And then it also tells you if you have us doing this, because we answer the phones 4 different ways. We have live message taking. That means that we just take a name, number, brief message and pass it along, and you take it from there. We have form, and form means that we capture the information and we enter it in your CRM or wherever you want us to enter it. And then we have quote, and quote means that we would do anything for you. Anything, just like you had somebody in an office working for you, we'll do it. We just do it remotely. We'll take payments over the phone. A very common task for BidSlot is to call over the last 2 weeks on any quotes that were given and not sold. So our success rate of closing the deal with that human touch, even if you're using like Responsibid or you have automation set up in the Customer Factor, House Call Pro, Job, or any one of those softwares you may be using, that human touch definitely helps you close the deal. And like I said, I hire only salespeople. So one thing that we're very good at is working your current customers as well. And part of my presentation that I just gave at PWMCA, one of the points that I was given was one of my clients, that's a power washing company in the Northeast. We've been working with him all 6 years in business. He has over 4,000 customers in his database, but he wasn't ever doing anything past, the initial clean unless they called him. So we ran the numbers, and we budgeted on 235 phone calls a week from my office, and it's my virtual office. It's my virtual agents making the calls, the people in my office.
Mm-hmm. And the people in my office, just go back 10 seconds, April.
So the cold calls we're doing for Lee, in the Northeast. We're doing 235 phone calls a week. And that is going to help him realize over $500,000 in additional revenue this year if we just close 40% of the people that we're talking about. And he has a pretty solid customer list. Like, the people liked the service that they received from him. And we've already filled up his March and April without the phone even ringing yet, because it's a slow season in the Northeast. And as soon as, March, April does come and it starts to get warmer out, then we're going to be, reaching more people, and more people are going to be saying yes. So we think that we could exceed $500,000, and that's just his current customer database, the leads he's already paid for, the people that have already trusted him to do the service before. And BidSlot has always been super powerful about telling people to work their current customer database.
Yes, you've always been on the soapbox about that, haven't you? Well, you know the difference, because you and Josh used to run a pressure washing business, didn't you?
Yes. So we've also started from zero, grew it, merged it, sold it, signed a no compete, moved outside of the state of the no competes, started with zero, grew it, and did the same thing all over again. And so we've proven the way that BidSlot works in several markets in the U.S. So we in 2002, Josh went through a school that trained him how to clean the hoods and kitchens of restaurants. And so the way that BidSlot was born was the way that we marketed that company that we own. And in 2003, we were named the best marketing idea of the year. And so we started having people ask us if I could do cold calling for them.
Right.
And so that's how BidSlot was born. And when we sold the company in St. Louis, then we moved to South Carolina, and we did the whole thing all over again. So in St. Louis, our first year in business, we closed almost 160,000, right around there somewhere. In South Carolina, I think we were like 120 to 140,000. The market was a little bit different, but we did figure it out. They're very slow to make the decision here in South Carolina, in our actual, like, where we live in Spartanburg County. So most of our business was not in Spartanburg County. Most of our business was in Columbia, Asheville, Charlotte, and the surrounding area.
Right.
And so we just made a little bit of a shift, and all those areas are still really close. It's not like we had to go too far, but Spartanburg was just slow to make a decision. So we just made it happen by, moving a little bit out into the surrounding areas. And it basically worked out very close to the same way.
That's fantastic. Hey, did you hear in my intro, like, what Six Sigma, like the logic of it is, the 6 sectors,
I did, yes.
Yeah. So this is our logic, is you can attract a lead, you can go to a lead, which is cold call, right? That's your attract, and then, but the conversion, once you convert, then you've got to deliver, and then you've got to control the delivery, right? So more and more and more systems and processes. So you kind of really know where you sit, because you've done it and delivered it, which is, so I relate to that because, I used to be a window cleaner, and then I made window cleaning tools. So I think I make better tools than other people because I used to be a window cleaner, and the other guys have just got engineers who have never cleaned a window, or whatever they've got, or maybe they haven't changed anything for 70 years, So
Yeah.
I always think that, what you've got is this, it's in your DNA, to get it right, isn't it?
Yeah, and I did a live demo right in front of everybody in the crowd that came to the, speaking session that I had. And so, of course, I had a lot of people sign up because you're not going to believe this, because I literally did a legit unscripted cold call. I had no idea how it was going to go. It's always shaky because you never know what somebody's going to say on the other end. And here I am doing it up there in front of everybody. But I wasn't scared. You know that I do it. You know that I do it all the time. But I sold the very first person that I spoke to an appointment. And then I switched over from appointment setting to show people exactly how we can answer the phone, quote, and close the deal right then and there. In under 2 minutes, I sold a $699 house wash and gutter cleaning, and scheduled the person and everything. And so I did a little demo in my presentation, and it was a lot of fun.
That's a buzz. I'm going to give you a virtual high five. You leave both hands on the steering wheel, right?
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. Well, that's amazing. See, I used to run call centers. I don't know if you remember the old days, but I had 46 people working for me, and that's how I trained as well. Because I always say, don't ask somebody else to do what you can't do yourself. But the nervousness of that live is the anxiety is like being a stage performer. I guess they say every artist, before they go on the stage, they still get anxiety. So there's a little bit of this could not go right, but good on you. It went fantastically, eh?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Hey, what do you think? So let's say somebody's answering their own calls and they wanted to use BidSlot for overflow at the beginning, right? Because everybody's going to be potentially nervous, but the people who've seen you deal live, they're not going to be nervous at all. So I'm not saying, that's the right way to go. You might as well just put all the calls to you guys. But if, let's say that somebody only wanted to use you for overflow at the beginning, how would you make any comments on how they could answer the phone themselves? I mean, what do you know about people in the industry about how they answer the phone and how they could answer the phone better? Is that a good topic?
It is a good topic, and I just highly suggest that somebody that's out in the truck working, going to and from jobs, is definitely not the person that answers the phone. Number one, you're going to miss calls because, like right now, for example, if I'm in traffic, I'm not going to be answering, the phone or anything. So that I highly suggest that you would have somebody in an office setting, whether it's virtual or, whether it's in your actual office building if you have one, because just one missed call, pays for a service or a person, like us.
Right.
And
so there's a false economy in doing it yourself, right?
Yeah, and it's very unprofessional to be like trying to focus on somebody else or something else whenever somebody's calling for a quote. People can tell when you're paying 100% attention to them and when you're not.
Yeah.
And so having a answering service and virtual office or sales center is just a very consistent professional experience that you're going to give your potential customer, or if it's your current customer, the customer service experience. If it's a potential customer, then you're showing them right off the bat how serious you are about wanting to do work with them, not trying to say, oh, hey, I'm just setting up my ladder on a job site. Can I call you back? And then you get busy and something happens, and then you don't remember it till tomorrow because your entire day is full. That happens every single day. But also, to answer your question about forwarding the phone, there's a few ways that you can forward your phone, but when you forward your phone to BidSlot, you're in charge of when you do it. You can turn it on and off. Most people do not. Most people do what's called unconditional forwarding. And unconditional forwarding means that it rings straight to bid slot, and we're going to answer on the first to third ring. That means it bypasses ringing your phone. But there's
they can still own their number, which means that
they totally own their number.
That gives them that security.
Yes, and I basically purchase a number with an area code that is wherever your office is, whatever area code you want me to get. And then you point your number
if you call
to that
back, it looks like
number.
A local one.
Yes, that's what we do. And so you have unconditional forwarding and you have conditional forwarding. So I just explained unconditional forwarding.
Mm-hmm.
Conditional forwarding means that you or your office want the chance to ring it before it kicks over to us. We never suggest more than 3 or 4 rings. I suggest 3, but sometimes people set it up with 4 rings, and it would ring your phone 3 or 4 times, depending on how you set it up. If you do not answer, it kicks over to our office, and then we answer the call and do whatever it is that you ask us to do. And
the point is that you answer within 1 to 3 rings, so they're going to 6 or 7 rings.
Yes.
In a conditional sense, right? Compared to 1 to 3 rings in an unconditional sense.
Yes, and 1 to 3 is like normal, but sometimes it can be longer. Sometimes it can be longer though. It depends. You get fluxes of calls when you're in answering service. Is what it comes down to. It'll be quiet and then 20 calls all at one time come in, especially during the busy season. So anyways, we set it up where there's 6 rings for your company. And if we do not answer in 6 rings, it would go to a voicemail, and then we immediately call them back. And I have one agent calling, if we do get any voicemails, calling them back. We don't always have voicemails. It just depends on the call volume. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. So you're straight back on it. I mean, this is all part of Six Sigma, right? The perfecting of a process. So, okay, things go wrong. How do we eliminate the consequence of those things go wrong? Your way is, if 20 calls come in at once and you've got 19 operators, 1 call is going to bounce through to voicemail, and you've got an operator that as soon as they see a message in voicemail, they call that person back, so that they almost get a call back as soon as they've hung up on leaving their message. In that logic.
If we don't. Yes, and if we don't get them, we'll text them as well, and we'll say, hey, this is, April
missed
with XYZ company. We're so sorry we missed your call. How can we help you? And then sometimes sometimes when that happens, we can even schedule the job right through a text message. It just depends on what they're wanting and everything like that. Sometimes they do just call right back in after we text them. So either way is fine. But so this is a topic too, is that the only way that answering services can advertise that they never miss a call is when they do something called ring out. And ring out means that there's no limit on how many times your phone's going to ring. It's just going to ring forever. I think the maximum is 2 minutes and 30 seconds a phone can ring, something like that.
From a telco.
And every ring happens every 5 seconds. A ring happens. So, anyways, the way that an answering service can say we've never missed a call for you is if they do something called a ring out. And a ring out is not a good customer experience. I've been in the answering service for a long time, and I used to own AnswerWorks, which you probably remember that too, Perry. AnswerWorks was a much different company. Number one, I had a couple partners, and number two, they used an answering service software that did the ring out thing that I'm talking about. So they never missed calls because it would just loop around. But if you're the one calling, you're like, did I even get the right company? Is this number even right? Because you don't ever get an answer. And so you quit trying, and so my magic that I feel in BidSlot and for all my customers is 6 rings, and if we don't answer in 6 rings, we immediately call them back. But if we are working with a customer that does not want any calls missed, we can set it up to where it's a ring out is what it's called. Because yes, more than likely, if the customer let it ring 2 minutes and 30 seconds, we're totally going to answer in that time frame or something. You know what I mean? There would be an available agent at that. But every person that I explain it to like that, they do not care, and they're fine with, they would prefer a voicemail, you know, versus a ring out is what it's called.
Yep. Now, for those who have joined us just recently, April is driving, which you can hear the background noise of the car, so that's why she is in the dark. Yeah. So
yes.
Good on you. So let me ask you this question. Before you mentioned Lee in the Northeast with 235 outbound calls in a day, in a week, sorry. Are they all going to be made by the same operator or the same set of operators, you know?
Same set of operators. 235 calls is actually quite a bit of call time a week.
That's 50 a day. Yeah, that's 50 a day.
Yeah, and we normally make 25 to 35 calls an hour. And so when you do the math that way, it's you know, it's what, I mean, I didn't do the math, not like right now in my head. It's, you know, at the office or whatever. But so what I did though is it's only 4 people doing the call outs though. And it's not my normal call center, like cold calling agents, because my cold calling agents, all they do is cold call. When we work somebody's current customer list and we're like going in the CRM, we may have to take a payment or whatever like that. That has to be a virtual agent, one of my sales center agents. I have 2 sides of the company, appointment setting, different system, different price, all of that all together. And then answering service in virtual office is where the client retention falls.
Right. Great. Okay, well that makes sense. That you know but there's still a sense of familiarity with the script. It's not a new agent learning a new script every time. You've got the same
not
people
at all.
mastering the script. You know.
No, and it's normally like it depends on what the call volume is. Now certain things, like if we did your bookkeeping, for example, you would only deal with one person the whole time we worked together. You would not. I would never have like Stephanie do it one day, Alexi the next day, Tommy the next day. It doesn't work like that. Bookkeeping is completely different. Like system coding, funnels, and websites, that's one person. But the cold calling, like the cold calling simple, it's in a system. All the agents are on it. But if it's a unique campaign where we're doing like something very different than home service industry, then one answer agent would be on, or one cold calling agent would be on that, and it wouldn't be something I train several people on. So I do think that's a good point that you make.
Yeah, because that's what you did for me last time. I remember you put that guy on for me, and he was just, you know, doing all of our stuff because it was so unique at the time, and he got very good at, you know, asking the right questions and giving us the right information when he sent the message through to us, you know. And that's where Vince, you know, Vince came on board and took that role. So he said, you don't need to do that, so we'll just get somebody to answer the call. But that's kind of what happened, you know, back then, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but I thought that was an amazing, you know, the fact that there was one person helping us out, you know, with our stuff, and that means that their knowledge base increased and their ability to give intuitive answers that sounded genuine, you know, is at the same time, right? Have you got background noise, Ben? Your mic's on.
And something like that. Is there somebody else on?
No, just I think Ben had a bit of background noise when he came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. You're good. Carry on.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
I'm so tired.
No, you keep driving. Don't worry. You keep driving. Hey, here's another question for you. When you talk about 235 outbound calls, you know, is that 235 connects or 235 calls with an expectation of a 50% connection or a 70% connection?
So every call counts, 235 calls. We've left a lot of voicemails this time of year, but we've also gotten a lot of callbacks. And I know that we'll reach more people whenever spring comes. And we do a voicemail if they do not answer, and we'll text them as well. And we'll be like, hey, you know,
nice.
it's April with, and we give them a list of all the services that we did. So there's, so that's how we handle it. Every call counts.
Yeah, and then
Answer,
from
try back, disconnect, all of that.
You got it. Okay. And then from a Service Six Sigma point of view, when we talk about, you know, attract a customer, outbound call attracts the customer in this case, you know, even though it's an existing customer, then we convert, which is the intention of the call is the conversion process, right? Then they have to go and deliver the service, and you're already filled out March and April. I think some other guys will do the maths on this, and then the natural customer base will come in. So he has a little of a bubble and a balloon heading for March, April, where, you know, he's got like customers that come back every year who's going to want to book in, and then he's going to go like, you know, so he's got to think about another truck, you know, and then no more operators, and then his systems and processes have got to be able to make sure his CRM's right and his route management and his scheduling, and isn't it? Like, it's growing a business, you know, with successful marketing can be as traumatic as a business shrinking due to lack of marketing.
Yes, that's all right. And there's a couple things that we do strategically when we're doing a client retention campaign, you know, especially in a residential market. We set those calls for in the evening so that we're reaching the homeowner when they're not at work. That's one thing that we do that no other company really pays attention to.
Right.
If they even do the client retention, you know, by cold calling.
Yes. I know what you mean.
That's actually not cold calling. That's actually warm, hot calling. You know, it's like somebody's already trusted you and stuff like that.
Yeah. We can say outbound.
Just the outbound part of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing that we do that keeps it pretty super strategic as well, is we are first working on a list of people that only used him January and February, all of his years in business. And then next month we're gonna import like March and April. And then next month we're gonna import, you know, and so we are doing it by the time of year that they've already bought from him.
Yeah, you see, that's the beauty of having run a business in the industry, because you get it, right? How the customer behaviors work. You know, they have their idea why they get it cleaned at this time rather than that time, and you're jumping on top of that without even knowing what it is, but you're jumping on top of it because the pattern is there. Yeah, I like it. Okay, well, you've done well with that. All righty. So what other questions can we ask you, April? What other questions do you normally answer?
Oh my. There was some people that asked me a ton of good questions. Like on the cold calling side, a common question is, when you set an appointment for me, does that lead go to other people as well? And the answer is no.
Good question. Yeah, great question.
And also the lead list that we pull, they're going to pull the company names, address, city, state, zip, phone number, and email address. So we cannot pull a list by SEIS code, number of employees, annual revenue, or size of building. But if you need a list like that, we just work with a mail house that provides that list. It's different fee, you know, like you got to pay them for the list.
Yeah, because you got to pay for the list.
To pull the list. Yeah, they take longer to pull the list, but when you get the list, you then send it to us and we can call for you. So on the cold calling side,
commercial and residential, yeah?
So we do commercial cold calling, residential, only type of calling we will do is on people. Hold on just a second.
Yeah.
I have to. Okay.
You focus.
So,
Hang on. You keep talking.
Okay. So the only way that will work on a residential list is if it's your current customer database, or if
Yep.
it is somebody that, like, if you're running leads on Facebook, for example, and
Yep.
you have people filling out a form requesting a quote, and you get their phone number and their email, that means they're opting in. So we could call them if they're on a spreadsheet, or if you have those being driven to Slack, or, you know, like, we could work those as well. But we don't do residential cold calling. That's a completely different game. I
Right.
personally would never want to cold call residential, you know,
Right.
but on the commercial aspect, that's cold calling. On the residential aspect, that's like client retention, and or it could be the leads where, like, you're, you know, like I said, you have a Facebook form, you have people filling out. We could call those, but we don't do
Yeah.
cold calling because
Cold.
they like
Yeah.
requested information, you know, so they're
Right,
warm.
and then you get all the privacy, you know. Anyways, it's basically a respectful service, and your team, like, their local market, you know, even if it's, you know, Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte people in Charlotte don't want to be cold called all the time. That's pretty much well established over the last 40 years, you know. And then
Yeah.
and then the business that you're ringing on behalf of doesn't want the reputation that it's cold calling people at night, you know. So yeah, but warm is good.
Yeah, warm is good. Warm is definitely good. And then, so just Perry, we're a forward-thinking company. I love to tell people that. And I'm like you, Perry, where I always am inventing and creating new things all the time.
Yeah,
And
solutions.
so, yes, and so I work with a lot of people that want new leads being driven into their database, but they feel like they don't have the time to go to the appointments. And I just also like to mention that when you hire us for appointment setting, you know, you also have the cost of your time and your fuel going to and from these appointments. And it can
Yep.
get expensive, especially if you've got a big Ford F-350 or, you know, a diesel
Yeah.
truck or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It can get expensive. And so I am launching a solution called MeasureMate. And MeasureMate is going to be where, just like cold calling, how we pull the list of the hotels, restaurants, hospitals, nursing homes, car dealerships, and all of those things, we're
Yep.
going to pull all of those lists. We're going to put it into our, you know, our marketing software. And then each package with MeasureMate includes a certain number of us measuring and sending a quote, and then doing the follow-up call. That's what we're good at. We're good at, you know, like, getting the price in the person's hand, following up to close the deal for you. That's something we're just very good at. So we're going to cold solicit these places the same way we do for cold calling, except for we're gonna take a look at the hotel online with either Measure Maps or Google Earth. We're gonna measure the sidewalks, the entryway, the building, the roof, the pool patio, the deck, and then we're gonna send it over to them, and then we're gonna follow up with the call, and we're gonna say, hey, I just sent you a quote to your email, and I wanted to make sure that you got it. And then just start that conversation the same way you do when you're cold calling and doing follow-up calls on the prices that you've left. So MeasureMate is for either someone that wants the cold calling face-to-face with people and the cold soliciting like that, so that their pipeline consistently stays full. Or it's for somebody that doesn't have the time and they have no interest in meeting with someone face to face. Maybe they're not good at sales. Maybe that's why they all set it to BidSlot.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just filling a little bit more in the pipeline so that you have a consistent revenue, because commercial is all reoccurring revenue. And, a homeowner can be reoccurring revenue if you work it, but I'm not talking about working it just when you need to work January through March. And as soon as your phone starts ringing, you say, as the owner, stop everything else, and all you do is answer that phone. And then what happens? Nothing gets done. And then you're mad because it's not getting done, and it's this vicious cycle that you're in. And also, why would you have your office lady doing sales if that's not what she's good at? Or social media if that's not what she's good at? You know what I mean? So anyway, Measuremate, I'm super excited about.
Nice.
And then I also, in my presentation that I just gave at the PWMCA, was a new software that I created, and I launched it in September of last year, and it's called Group Grabber. And so Group Grabber is a software that will pull every single Facebook group in your area, and it sticks it on a dashboard. Yes, and it sticks it on a dashboard so that you can have an organized approach of consistently marketing your business in groups.
Wow. Aren't you a clever cookie, eh? Well, we'll definitely talk with you about some of these other things, because they fit into the Six Sigmas that we talk about. You're jumping into control, systems and processes. And I know that we can talk to you at any time about the delivery of the service, tools, techniques, on-site assessments, on-site safety, pack out, pack up. We covered that a little bit yesterday. Different, even we could probably still talk different tools, the difference between a 3 gallon a minute and an 8 gallon a minute pressure washer. Even I think you could probably contribute to that. So, it's very exciting that you actually know what it is to be a service contractor, and that gives you that I call it the DNA. You've been doing it long enough, and it becomes part of who you are, and then you start solving problems. Because, like you, I talk to a lot of contractors. You talk to a lot of contractors. We're very, very CEO at the face of the business type people, and what happens? You get these tiny little, droplets of and innuendos and comments that ultimately you join all these little dots that people have given you, and it forms the picture of something that doesn't exist, and you see it, doesn't it? Yes. And then you start saying, I'm going to create that because like we had one we made last year was, a brush dedicated to 6-inch and 8-inch French panes, cut-ups, whatever you want to call them, So because there was never a brush that would clean a French pane window that had stuff on it that wouldn't come off with bristles, So like, you know what I mean? So you just hear it, and it's 10 years later that we realize, actually, we could make a brush. We have the technology to make a brush that'll solve that. And that's what I love about, how you also work, where you just heard this is a weakness in people's lives. So they've got so many groups, and then, oh, thanks, Ben. You just put it up on screen. I've got somebody asked a question here. Somebody said, can we ask about the incoming phone number formats? Are there statistics on which type of people are more likely to use or find more professional? i.e., I'm thinking that relates to local number versus 0800s or whatever. I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. Well, nobody really goes with an 800 number, not very often. The local number, am I answering this question correctly? Like,
yes, you are. I think so.
Am I catching this right? Okay. So
I think because they said incoming phone number format, so I'm guessing that's
okay. So I want to. So 800 numbers cost more money, and all 800 numbers actually you pay for long distance past a certain number. So that's why most people do not get 800 numbers, and they get local numbers, is because 800 numbers they cost more money, and you only, like, for example, I think I get maybe I may get 30 minutes or 50 minutes or something like that of minutes that are included with my 800 number I have for BidSlot. But I also have a local number, and I have the local number printed on most of my marketing material, all of my business cards. But I have my 800 number on any banner, bag, and things like that that I take to trade shows. And also, it's the one listed on my website. So there's pros and cons to 800 numbers. Like, if you're trying to look like a bigger company, an 800 number would be a good way to go. But if you want to look local, totally your local telephone number is going to make more sense. But 800 numbers, depending on how many calls you get, can get really expensive. I personally try to save people money. I'm still the most affordable answering service virtual office that there is, and the same thing with cold calling. We are affordable, but we're also high quality and good.
Yeah. So what about phone words where somebody, uses the numbers to make a word?
So the vanity numbers are
800 window or whatever,
So vanity numbers are getting harder and harder to come by. Are like .coms, for example, and I know everybody knows this, but I lost track of what I was saying. I'm tired.
This is good on you. Phone words, words made from numbers.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. So vanity numbers, the vanity numbers are hard to find, but we can find them. But, like, for example, now you can't get them from normally just any phone company. Like, if you called AT&T, Verizon, whatever, they're going to say we don't offer vanity numbers. So you got to use a third party, and I guess you have to make sure that you can port that number in your account. So they are still available. You just have to Google vanity numbers, and then places you can purchase them will pop up. The main thing that I would make sure, though, if I got a vanity number, is that it was placed in my actual phone account with whatever phone service I have, and nobody else owned it at all. Yes, you're not leasing it, they're releasing it.
Yes, very good. Not leasing, they are releasing. Okay, so what about this, April? Can somebody have a phone number that's on their van, another one that's on their door hangers, and another one that's on their website, and point all of them at the one inbound number at BidSlot Marketing?
Yeah, and we have companies do that all the time, and then they on their end normally can pull a report, or we can pull a report of how many calls are coming in, and so they're going to know, okay, truck wrap's working, okay, the EDDM cards I sent in the Turtle Creek subdivision are working. So I think that that's a really good idea if you're trying to see what you're, what marketing avenues you're doing, and tracking the success of the campaigns.
Especially if it's costing you money, because the key is, you've got a cost per lead, and then you've got to make a return on investment on that cost per lead, which may, what you're doing, by the way, is with BidSlot, is that you're extending the lifetime value of a customer, which is the proper way to assess your return on investment. If we sell a brush, we know anybody who buys one brush will end up owning at least 4 of our brushes, which will be in the, $1,000 plus range as a value of the customer in the next 2 years, but they might only spend $200 with us at the beginning, So we might assess the cost of the customer might be $20 or $30, to acquire, and then but the lifetime value of the customer is $1,000. The short-term return on investment is $20 or $30 out of 200, so 10 to 15%. But the lifetime value, if we can hold on to those customers, and that's what you would do. I know even in our business, that's what we're going to be talking about. Is going through our existing customer base, because we don't call them back, from overseas.
Yeah.
And so what we can do then is, we add to to the lifetime value of the customer by providing this extra warm service. And then that changes, if anybody's nervous about the return on investment of using BidStyle, I mean, that changes that map completely. If you get 2, 3, 4, 5 services for this initial outbound cost, then, you're really making it a fraction of the total income as a result of that communication,
In almost every single package we sell, Perry, we only have to close one deal to pay for ourselves for the month. So, so it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because we're going to close way more than that for you.
Yes. And then you go into the return on investments. And then I think, if somebody wants to throw a whole lot of money at Facebook or a whole lot of money at TikTok or whatever, a whole lot of money, whatever that means to them, because there are some guys who are just starting out and there are other guys who have got 10 trucks, but if they throw that money and they use a trackable contact, for communication. By the way, do you answer iMessages and all that sort of thing, inbound text and all that?
That we can if we have access to whatever phone system or texting system that you're using.
Right.
Yeah, so now listen, if you're using our system, I have a system that we built out that we can customize for anybody, and I only charge $97 a month. It's very affordable. It's 42 marketing softwares in one. And
wow.
And I sell it for only $97. It's the same software that we use for cold calling, text blast, email blast, voice bombs, connecting your Google My Business page, your Facebook page, and we can get into like funnels and websites and all kinds of stuff.
Wow. Oh, that's super cool.
We can set up any automations at all, whatever workflows that you want. We do custom build outs for tons of companies. We're currently doing one for like an HVAC company. We just got done building it out for our local chamber of commerce.
Brilliant.
This was a big deal. I was like so excited, and we do all that in-house, Perry. It's not like I'm hiring someone in the Philippines to do it. We do it in the upstate of South Carolina.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. What's a voice bomb? Somebody said, do you have voice bombs that work in Australia? I don't even know what a voice bomb is. I'm probably showing my age.
So we can do voice bombs in Australia as well. And we would we would first have to get you, before we did, we would just have to get you a local number that you want, and then we can pull the list right off of like Yellow Pages in Australia, and then whatever types of industry you want to go after. Now, with the voice bomb, just so you know, it has to be a cell phone number. It cannot be a landline. So a voice bomb bypasses ringing. Your phone goes directly to voicemail, and people really do not normally listen to the voicemail, and they call you right back, and they're like, hey, I just missed a call. And you're like, hey, my name's April Dotson. I'm calling with Reach It. We've done business before, and I want to see if we can, whatever it is we're selling, and then we sell it right then and there. And there's good ways and there's bad ways to do voice bombs. Number one, your voicemail, 20 seconds or less, nobody's barely going to listen to it. You'll have a few people that do, but not many. Normally they just call right back and they say, my phone was in my hand. I don't know, who is this, and then we go right into our script. So 20 seconds or less voicemail, and then make sure that you're fully staffed if you're going to send one out. So for example, that list of 4,000 that we're doing the 235 calls a week for, we would never send out a voice bomb to 4,000 people at one time if I had 6 people in the office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would send it out to probably maybe the first one, if I had 6 people on, 1,000 people, and see what happens.
Yeah, just see what happens. See what happens. And then you can always increase it or decrease it. Yeah. But give it a chance to give you a statistic. Yeah, it's all
because you don't
math.
want to send a voice bomb, and then when you send a
Blow
voice
yourself
bomb,
up.
you don't want to have the person call back and go to voicemail. You want somebody to answer the call. That's the whole point, because then you're like chasing them around.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good. We'll put you in touch. Hey, April, it's getting close to the hour, and we'll be lucky to let you go, and that you can recover your attention span for your driving. How many hours have you got to go?
2.5.
Oh wow, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I have
Good on
another
you.
phone call after this that'll keep me up for a little
Okay,
bit.
that'll keep you up. Great,
Yeah.
great, fantastic. Well, so let's summarize this in the sense that if anybody's watching this, what is the best way for somebody who's listening to us live now, and Ben will enter it into the into somewhere. Oh, he'll put it on the screen. There you go. What would be the best ways for somebody who are curious and interested to find you and to ask you questions? What would be the best way to approach you?
So you can go to my website, bitslotprogram.com, and when you select contact, there is a book a free strategy call right there, and that puts you on my calendar. So that would be the
Okay, we're
best
seeing
way.
it live now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's bitslotprogram.com.
.com. Yeah. Okay, and you can choose Power Up Marketing. That's what I need to do, April, because you and I have been chasing each other for a month now.
Yeah, so listen, Perry, people were like, I'll call you next week, and I'm like, can you please book on my calendar, because we'll both forget it. And I did not mean to forget. I mean, you're like top of mind, and then something happens, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tired, and blah 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 blah. But yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. No, we're good. We've already done business, so we know exactly how it rolls.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's the best way for them to catch you, right? Is just go to bitslotprogram.com, and then they can get hold of you and get hold of the story and the strategy, and the prices on the website are in US dollars. Just for the guys down in Australia, is multiply that by 1.5 for Aussie dollars, or 1.6, something like that, and there you go. Yeah, so it's as little as $99 a month. I see. And then it sounds almost impossible to not get a return on investment that's equal to any other marketing form at all, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, one call that we save you, even if you just have us doing live message taking, and they don't go right down the list calling everybody else, they just want the first person to answer and say, yes, we can give you a quote.
Yeah, there you go.
That stops them.
And game on. Yeah, it could be $3,000 or your $3,000 job, Yep.
Yeah.
Easy. All right, April, please say hi to Josh. Give him a man hug for me.
I will. Thanks for having me. Take care.
No, you're very welcome, and you've added huge value, and I think it's going to be really cool. And let us know if people mention that they heard about you on servicesigma.com. Give us a buzz and let us know, because that'll make us smile as well.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
So
yeah.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. Let Ben say goodbye as well, because he's been in the background all this time.
Hey, Ben.
See you later. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay. See ya.
You've done great. Okay. Drive safely, April.
Wow, that was a great.
There you go.
That was great.
Yeah, so much information, right?
Yes. All right. I think that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone, for joining Service Six Sigma.
Go back to your Friday night.
Back to your Friday night. And if you guys want to hear any other topics, please let us know.
And if they want to contribute, right? If you want to come on live, it's not just me and Ben. We're just looking. We love to interview you, and let's go. I like it. I like your music, Ben.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. We will catch. Do we know when we'll go live again? Are we going live tomorrow?
Sunday night. No Saturday night. No Saturday night live, right?
No
Remember, there's
Saturday
no grease.
Night live.
We'll see you Sunday night.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Okay.
Catch you guys next time.
See ya. Cheers.